Hi, I'm Kurataya and I'm a filmmaker, and today I'm having a conversation with Nicolas Perrin, who has been a guide that I've been collaborating with for a year or two now, actually. And we're having a chat about some of the wisdom that Nicolas can share from his incredible journeys that he's been on as he's been following an authentic soul path. And I was just tuning in about what we would chat about, and what I would really love to hear about is to hear about how do we live our lives from a place of heart wisdom and heart guidance in this very physical reality. How do we stay attuned and aligned to that heart intuition?
So first of all, hello everyone. Lovely to connect with you all, and thanks Laura for being here and for sharing your energy and time with us all. So the first thing that I'd like to invite or bring into the space is also understanding that there's different aspects of who we are that have different functions. So for example, there's the ego personality aspect of us, and that is the very human part. It is very limited in what it can actually see. It is the perceiving aspect of who we are. It's like the mask that we wear in this world for this life. And of course, when we die, that mask is released and dissolved, and that particular chapter that the soul or the divine aspect of who we are has used completes. And its role is really to experience life as it is. It's the accumulator of the experiences that the soul uses to actually expand who and what it is. So beyond obviously the personality, we have our higher self, our higher nature, and connected to that is obviously the mind, and there is different levels of mind as well. There's conscious mind, there's the intellect, there's the subconscious, there's the unconscious, there's the collective unconscious, and all of those different layers have different functions and will impact on our human experience as well. Beyond that is the soul, and beyond that is the oversoul, and beyond that then starts to go into the collective levels of consciousness, ultimately going back into the one infinite creator, and possibly even things beyond that. But this is where the mind really cannot understand that, and of course, to kind of keep some kind of framework of understanding what is reality, we keep it in there. So what I've realized for myself and through my own experience is that our intuition and our heart inner guidance is the ever consistent whisper of our soul, of our divine nature, that is letting us know what is the next step in our life. And in order to really be able to actually receive that, the mind has to be quietened to some degree. And also, what I've realized for myself is that we have to recognize that the thoughts that come into our mind space is not who we are, and to learn how to not identify with those thoughts, to become more the observer and the witness of those thoughts, and to recognize them when they come in, but not to actually buy into them, not to actually put our life force energy into them, which is then what creates that real experience, is when the emotions are created, because there's been an acceptance and an alignment to a particular thought pattern. So there's definitely mastery of the mind, and some people call it mindset, and that is absolutely a key step. But for me personally, I feel that mastering the mind is crucial so that we can then actually access our divine eternal nature, and then can use the mind to create the reality that we would prefer with much more grace and ease. So when I kind of drop in and go, okay, so now that I've shared all of that, and there's obviously, I could go into a lot more detail with a lot of all of those individual things. How, just answering your question, how do I tap into my heart for wisdom? The first thing is to recognize that the wisdom is always there. So if that means I'm not receiving it or I'm not able to actually hear it, that means I need to take the time to still myself. Now, there's an infinite number of ways you can do that, and it depends on you as an individual what works for you. So for me personally, various meditation practices have been very powerful, and at the moment where I am in my journey, what I found to be the most powerful is using what I call the mind to attune myself to frequencies, very high frequencies, which is again available. And I recognize that I'm like an antenna, a radio, and I know how to use my brain, which is like what I call a quantum computer, to be able to tap into a frequency by shifting the brainwave state. So the brainwave state is what allows me to access those frequencies because everything already exists right here, right now. And of course, the more that I tune to a particular frequency, the easier it is. So in the beginning, it can be a little bit difficult. This is where a mentor or a guide, I like to use the word guide, is very useful because if someone is already highly attuned to a particular frequency, so for example, I went to Egypt recently, and that particular pilgrimage was all about attuning to the enlightenment frequencies. And then we spent 22 days, anywhere from 6-7 hours up to 12 hours a day attuning to those energies. And because I invested in a being, in a channel that has been doing it now for 30 years, and they're a very powerful and clear channel in integrity, then I was able to use their mastery and to attune myself to that frequency. And again, this really fits into the next important thing, which is really taking responsibility for my reality. Like, I'm responsible for what's in my reality. I'm responsible for moving forward in my life, and everything is available to me to support me and assist me in that. And even all the guides, all the mentors, all the coaches, all the healers out there, they can absolutely hold keys to assist in quantum leaps in evolution. Do not ever rely on those people. Absolutely have some kind of daily direction. I call it a daily practice, but it's a focused awareness, attentive commitment on all levels of your being that you're consistently and consciously attuning yourself to. What's naturally going to happen as a result of that is that there's the shadow aspects of the self on all levels of reality. So there's negativity that is held within the ego nature. There is distortions that lie within our own individual minds, in the collective minds. Then there's also dark energies or negative energies that can also be attached at the soul level, at the interdimensional level. And not many people are aware of this. Some people are, some people are not. And unfortunately, this is where, if you've done years and years of mindset, and you're believing, it's just all about the mindset. If you've got dark energies attached to your soul, you're not going to move forward in your life. And it does take a specialist person who can actually handle that, can actually connect beyond 12 dimensions in order to actually restore the soul balance, heal the container, and remove those energies. So that's really important as well.
That's a lot you've just shared in there. I mean, because I'm listening to all of that and thinking about, when you're just beginning on that path of learning how to listen to the heart, that feels quite overwhelming. There's just so many aspects to deal with.
Yeah.
How do you find someone to assist you with if there are some of those negative energies that need to be cleared? How do you just figure out what do you hold on to take the next steps to find your way on that heart path when there's just so much there?
Yes. So the good news is that you will only ever be asked to handle what you can handle, right? So I've also just shared things that have taken me, since 2006 to put together, and there's probably things that I'm not aware of yet. So sometimes it's a little bit like if you've never studied mathematics before, and you put yourself into a PhD of mathematicians, it's going to be overwhelming, right? If you've never done it before. But if you've been studying it for 15 years, then you're ready for that next level. So it's the same thing with this type of path and with this work. You just start where you are. And it's just about being honest. It's just about being truthful. Where am I in my life right now? And what is life inviting me to step into? And the great news is that life is a beautiful reflection and a mirror. And by being truthful in terms of observing reality, observing what is or isn't happening in our life, we can very clearly start to see what it is that I need to explore within myself. So then the question is, okay, how do I discern what that is? So this is again where now every person is different. And the point with this is that there isn't any one way, and this is important. Even though I'm sharing these things with you now, you are going to have to find your own way. These can certainly assist you to refine that. And I do encourage you to completely and absolutely reclaim your power as a sovereign divine being, to recognize that the answers are within you, and that everyone and anything outside of you is just a resource that you can use to assist. But don't fall into the trap thinking that other people know what's best for you, because that is not true. Ultimately, you at a deep level do know, and once the mind is purified and cleaned so that you can actually start to receive those messages, then it'll become easier and easier. Now, if you are a feeling person, then you will get an intuitive knowing through a sense, a feeling. Now, the two obvious senses is there's either a contraction. So if you ask a question, if you drop into your body, you tap into the subtle energy body, okay? Again, there's many different ways of doing that. One way that I'll just share with you now is the Vipassana 10-day silent meditation. You will absolutely begin to tap into your subtle energy body, and they hold a very strong and powerful container to help you do that. There's many other ways: Tai Chi, Qigong, all sorts of different other martial arts, movement exercises, meditation, yoga practices that will help that, okay? The body-mind integration is essential. So then you can become familiar. Wow, I'm in a contraction, right? So that is your being saying, okay, no, this is not for me. Or it's an expansion, which means that decision or that choice or what life is bringing into your space, your being is going, yes, let's move more into that. And you can use it in many different ways. Another great strategy or another way that you can engage with life is if you still your mind, right, and you drop into your heart and you send love to someone, or even love to a situation, or love to an idea. Feel how much love comes back. Right? The more love that comes back to you, the stronger, the higher the frequency of that person, idea, event, or opportunity is. Okay, so that's also a very powerful way, because frequency never lies, and the mind can be a tricky place to navigate, and often we have to make mistakes to learn. Oh, okay, that's what that means, right? But the heart is the space that you can trust to get a truthful answer, because it is the part of us that recognizes truth, where the mind actually cannot distinguish between truth and falsehood. Great resource is actually a book called Truth and Falsehood by Dr. David Hawkins, and he actually explains the mapping of consciousness and how you can engage with it through kinesiology. That is not my preferred personal way. I believe or sense that the mind can interfere with those results, and it does take someone that's on already quite a high level of consciousness to not trick themselves. So by bypassing the mind altogether and just using the heart to get a truthful answer, for me, is a safer option for people that are starting out.
Beautiful. Thank you, Nicolas. I love that extra tool you've just shared with us. It's bringing it back to the simplicity of the heart, which
Yes.
is perfect for, if you're on that heart soul journey. You just, at the end of the day, there's so much stuff, but it's lovely to think about. You can always bring it back to simplicity.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. Keep it simple, folks.
Yeah.
As soon as it gets complex, then usually that means we've gone into the mind, and that's when we can often go into overwhelm, or go, oh my goodness, what's the next step for me? So if we ask the question, what is the next thing that I can bring my attention and awareness to in this moment right now, and drop into a space of openness and nothingness, and just see what comes into your space without trying to look for it or trying to find it or trying to fish for it or make it happen. Really allow it to come into the space. Then you can trust that is the next step in your path, in your journey, that is ultimately going to make your evolution at a soul level profound and beautiful, and give you everything that you require at that deepest of levels.
Beautiful. Cool. Well, I think we may wrap it up there.
That feels amazing. So thank you so
Yeah.
much for being with me, and thank you for holding the space, and thank you guys for being on connection with us here. I would love to hear from you. So if you write any comments down below to ask any questions, or if you have any answers to any of the questions that Laura has asked, you're more than welcome to put your answers in the comment section, and to keep these conversations flowing. It's important that people know about this information, that the unity consciousness, and more importantly the evolution and the moving forward into unity consciousness, becomes more available to people.
Absolutely. So thank you for listening, and also if people want to find out more about you, Nicolas, they can go to your website.
Yeah, go to lionheartcoaching.com.au, find me on Facebook, search Lionheart Coaching, or on Instagram, Lion Coach.
Great, and I
Alright.
think we'll end it there on that beautiful belly laugh.
Thank you.